Hey, what's going on? Oh, shit. Get things set up here. I don't expect many people at all to be watching this, but instead of trying to film this, edit it, and put it up later, that's how I go live. So much easier. So much easier. So this is basically uh, a commission. Well, I can't say commission. This is something I did on, let's see, Fragtober. Can't remember what the date was. Maybe it was the 28th, a couple weeks back. I had a lot of fun doing it. I wish I had challenged Dan Frega. That would have been fun. But you know what? I was a pussy and did not. So I didn't. But anyway, the guy saw this and offered to buy it. So I was like, yeah, sure. Absolutely. I'll sell it. I wanted to, hey, Andrew Wyatt. What's going on, brother? Again, this is just a, right now, this is just me being lazy. I need to finish this commission. And instead of making a video and editing it, I figured I'd just do it live. So I didn't expect a lot of people to be tuning in or not, but if you are watching, appreciate it. And if not, appreciate that as well too. But anyway, so this guy bought this as a commission for me, and I told him I would go through and thicken up the lines, make it a little bit more than just a sketch. So that's what I'm gonna do. There isn't a ton I can do. If I was thinking about the fact that I might be able to sell this, I might try to do a little bit more than like chicken scratch lines. But again, with Fragtober, what's going on, Rick? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining me. Again, this is I don't know how long we're streaming. This is just a quick drawing. I'm gonna try to finish up this blob picture I did on Fragtober, and because a guy that's bought my work before on Instagram reached out. He saw this and he's like, "Hey, can I purchase that?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." I was gonna send it to auction, but it was like, "Hey, money talks," you know. What's going on, Mr. Sontag? So you're going only to ink full color? Yeah, just gonna ink this. It's already pretty much done. So this was, as you can see, fragged over here. Very sketchy lines. You know, I had to try to get this done in what, an hour, 45 minutes. It seemed like less when we were actually drawing. So a gentleman purchased this who has bought from me before. And I told him that I would try to clean up the lines a little bit so it's not so sketchy. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Yeah, this was a whole lot of fun. You know, I got to choose the character, and I honestly didn't know what the hell I was gonna do. But going through the suggestions, somebody said the Blob. I can't remember who it was. And I was like, you know what? That sounds really cool. Never drawn the Blob before. It's something new. You don't normally do like giant fat guys. You know, most of the time you're drawing muscular superheroes or babes. You know, hey Jamie, not so sketchy on the sketchy. On the sketch is hilarious. I know. But there's a few things I'm gonna go over and make this a little bit tighter. It's not like a crazy amount I can do, but I can do what I can. You know, the guy purchased it from me, so I'm gonna do what I can to give it a little bit more solid lines, make things stand out a little bit more. I need to add some cross hatching. But yeah, I mean the Blob was fun, man. You don't normally get to do characters that aren't the norm. You know, you spend a lot of time learning anatomy and trying to draw the muscle bound freaks. And so you get a chance to actually do like something like this. It's a little bit more caricature approach, which is what I kind of tried to do. I want to do a little bit more, you know, step outside my box a little bit and you know, make it fun. Make it fun. I tried to get the turtles, but no go. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I didn't realize they had already done it, but yeah, it's so if anyone knows, like I hit Rick up because I knew I was going to be on. I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "I really want to draw the turtles. I need somebody to give a suggestion for the turtles out in the chat." So he's like, "I got you," and he did. He came through for me. I appreciate it, but unfortunately, they had already done the turtles, so that was a no go. Which is too bad because I absolutely love drawing the turtles and it would have been real fun. So has anybody been following the Rittenhouse trial? What's going on, B Rose? How's it going, brother? I gotta say, I've been watching every second of that trial, and it's riveting. Like I found myself really anticipating the next day, and I hope the kid gets off. I really do. Definitely self defense, in my opinion. So yeah, if you're just joining me, I'm just trying to finish up this blob that I started on Fraga's channel on Fragtoba. Had a guy purchase this. I'm just going to add a few things. I actually don't know a ton what I can do to make this look better than what the sketch was, but I'm going to do my best. I want a Sontag Phantom X or a Deadpool with the Carnage symbiont attached. Would be called Deranged. Ooh, sounds fun. The Brett Booth stream was awesome, Joe. Great job. Brett is a cool ass dude. Thank you, man. And thank you for everybody that checked that out. I tried to stream it on a couple different channels. I did this one, obviously the Odd and Stuff channel. We had him on, but I've always liked Brett. Brett's been great. Every time I've hit him up and wanted to talk to him about things, whether it's just art related, he was really cool to Sean and me the first time we approached him to be on the show last year, and he's a down to earth dude. He's got some probably some political beliefs that are pretty opposite of mine, but I was really interested because when we first had him on the show, we were in a Comicsgate channel, and we were just an independent channel. I wasn't quite sure if he would even come on the show with the Comicsgate affiliation because we've had, unfortunately, we've had people that refuse to be on the show because of that. And it is what it is. It comes with the territory. So I hit him up and knowing that he was going to be doing some advertising or some promotion or whatever for his Lost Serpent Prince, and then he's got the Anybody's book that he's working on. And I told him about our channel and told him what we were kind of about, and he's like, dude, I don't care about any of that stuff. He's like, I try not to get wrapped up in the political aspect of stuff, and I was like, cool. So he said he'd come on the show, and he did. And while we were on the show, I was able to bring up Comicsgate conversation, which was nice. It's not, there was like no off limits conversation. It was cool. Like he knew we would probably discuss it, and he didn't shy away from it. And I got to say, despite what people might think of Brett from his Twitter or his political views, I have to say I got a lot of respect for him for coming on amongst all the crap that you see these days with the cancellation, or as soon as Comicsgate is put out there or whatever, it could be damaging, someone like Brett Booth. But he's kind of in this phase where he's getting back into the independent market. He's doing this stuff with Todd McFarlane, but he's really trying to work on his own stuff. So I got a lot of respect for him to come on the show and to really not give a shit. And I don't know if Brett's uncancelable, but I feel like he's done enough in the industry that he pretty much can do whatever he wants right now. I don't know, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. We got to talk about Comicsgate. I thought it went well. He had some interesting, but I thought positive things to say about Comicsgate, and I just got a chance to see where he's coming from, and I think that's great because I honestly think that's also a good sign that the narrative is being broken. If only more people were like Brett. I know, right? But I honestly think that's the way we're headed, B Rose. I really do. I think the narrative is being broken. I do think that you're going to see a bigger backlash from time to time because people like control. They don't want to give up that control, and as they feel it slipping away, they're going to fight to keep that control going. But you get guys like Brett, who's been in the industry for a while. Um, knows how the game's being played, and at some point, Brett's a guy that's been attacked too, by the mob, so to speak, with, all the way, like women are drawn and stuff. He's been one of the guys that's been caught up in that melee about the way he's drawn the female form. So, I mean, he's not, um, foreign to being attacked. And I think that helps when it comes to a situation like this. And I had a long conversation with Brett. Rick Sailor said, I hope Brett will be able to bring over his campaign from Kickstarter to Indiegogo. The anybody's thing he was doing, that was Scott Lobdell. So whatever he decides to do, he does. But I know that talking to Brett, I think the Lost Serpent Prince, that's going to be the Artist Elite. I think that's going to be part of like an anthology book that they're going to try to get out in the stores. But I know he is going to be looking to do some crowdfunding, and he told me he's going to be doing it on Indiegogo. He might do both, but he's definitely going to do it on Indiegogo. But yeah, I talked to Brett for a little while after the show was over, and I thanked him for coming on, and I thanked him for talking candidly about everything and not shying away from questions, because I didn't want to have Brett on and have our chat not be able to ask certain questions or feel like they had to hold their tongue. I mean, I know a lot of people would, just out of respect for us, because they wouldn't want to see our channel or our interview go bad if it was one of those things where we weren't trying to approach that subject. But this time I wanted to, and I was glad that Eddie Winkler was in the chat asking questions. Rick was in there asking a lot of really good questions. And there was a lot of love. See, I was able to show him a lot of love from the guys in Comicsgate. You guys showed up great, and I would say you made an impression, right? The longer CG is around and growing, more and more people will open their eyes. We just got to keep grinding away and not act like the social justice warriors. Yeah, absolutely. That's a fact. But yeah, I mean, I told him point blank when I was talking to him behind the scenes when we were off air. I was like, CG is fiercely loyal. I was like, and you seem to really respect the fans. And if they get the sense that that's what you're about, you don't have to be CG. I mean, there's a lot of people that are CG adjacent or CG friendly that might not be straight CG that still get a lot of love. That's evident with, a lot of guys. I mean, you know the names. But as long as you don't throw CG under the bus, or act like there's something they're not, you're going to get the support, because Brett's one of those guys that has a lot of fans. There's a lot of people in CG, like a lot of older fans like me. Well, I don't know if I say older, but guys that grew up in the Image age, huge fans of Image, and was a huge fan of Brett. And you got guys like Eddie Winkler, same thing, that they're ready to jump on and support somebody like that comes over, or at least is showing some kind of not loyalty, but just not the vitriol. I told him I used Billy Tucci as the perfect example. I was like, that dude It's like he's friends with everybody. He can talk to guys in the mainstream. He can talk to guys in Comicsgate. He can talk all around because he's a good dude. Doesn't start shit. Yeah, he's opinionated, but he's got a lot of supporters too. And he agreed. It was something he definitely thought he wanted to strive to kind of be like. So all I'll say is you guys made a great impression. It was a fun interview. I wish Sean had been a part of it. Circumstances being what they are, I understand that. But it was a really fun interview. I think Brett is a really good guy. He goes out of the way to help fans on Twitter as much as he can with art questions. And I think, well, I think he would be a good addition to Comicsgate if he ever decided to join, which I personally don't see that happening. Honestly, I think he just kind of wants to do his own thing, which at the same point is fine. I got no problems with that. If a creator wants to come in and be CG friendly, but just do their own thing, there's nothing wrong with that. We all agree that the most important thing is respecting the fan and not trying to make them think that they're wrong about everything. If you haven't seen that interview, I suggest you go check it out because there's a lot of stuff he says that I straight up agree with. He's not a big fan of the image union thing for the same reasons that a lot of people aren't. The giving power to too many people that have the ability to decide who can and who can't publish books with some of the demands they're doing, and that pretty much goes against everything that the image stands for, in my opinion. He said he wanted to ask Brett about it, but decided not to. And Brett wasn't offering any information, so he just kind of let it go. But we were both kind of just like, I couldn't fathom the original guys that are still there at Image being down for something like that. Like the original Image was awesome. It was about creators. It was about you know getting away from the bigger companies, away from the editors and the writers, and being able to have freedom and to do what you want as a creator. And I feel like this would be a huge step back for creators, and I think it would kill what Image stood for and what Image was about. I'm good. Sorry, I went and got a coffee. Ooh, yeah, coffee sounds good. That's true. That is true. Absolutely true. Oh, hey, I know I only got 5 people watching, but we do have over on Lord Crackhead's channel. We got Jeremy and OC Steve doing their Monday Night Mayhem. Very fun show. So if you get a chance, go check that out. Like I said, this is just going to be me drawing and babbling for a little bit. I'm sad to see the path of Image these days. Yeah, well, you and me both, man. I was a huge Image fan as a kid, like that born and bred Image is what I like to say. Like that was like the first company that I attached to and was like, I took pride in saying like I was an Image guy. You had the Marvel guys, you had the DC guys, and I was like, Image. I'm an Image guy. And they're always so cool, groundbreaking on the stuff I would say that they were doing at the time. Whether you look at paper quality, obviously the art was bar none, the best art that you could find in the industry was at Image. I mean that's just not even in question. They were just killing it over there, and and they really stood for something. But nowadays, I'd say really ever since Liefeld, whether you want to say he was fired or he resigned, I like to say he resigned because that's kind of what he did. But were they gonna can him anyway? Probably. But ever since that happened, then Lee left, sold his characters to DC. and which was a shame because all those characters are just sitting on the shelf somewhere, not being used. And there were some incredible characters that were created in those Image days, and it's a crime. It's a travesty, really, that they're not being used. That we can't enjoy that as fans. But then Jim Valentino came in, brought in a lot of independent books, a lot of stuff that weren't superhero shit, and they wanted to get away from the superheroes. And that's what they did. They really haven't been a superhero company since then. And a lot of the big guys aren't doing books right now, or they're semi-retired. And yeah, so Image isn't what it is. It hasn't been what it used to be in a long, long time. So what would you would you do any other books given the right pitch? Are you all Reaper Destroyer at this point? Yeah, at this point I'm just Reaper Destroyer. Yeah, I got a lot of work to do on that book. I'm not the fastest artist in the world because I tend to lean heavily into detail. As you can see, I'm just looking for a reason to chalk this thing full of detail, and this is just a sketch. But this is kind of just because a guy paid good money for this. I want to make sure that it's worth it. But yeah, if my schedule allows me to sometime in the future, I would love to work on other properties and collab because I really do enjoy that the collaboration with others. But right now, my main focus is Reaper Destroyer, and it's going to be that way for the first issue and probably the second issue. So I'm probably going to be tied up for a few years, unless there's something real short. Like if somebody wanted me to do a few pages in a book with a bunch of other artists or something, I might be able to lend my hand for that. But it would still have to be after Reaper Destroyer is done because I don't want to have a late book. I want to put that thing out in April, and I want to make sure that I can get it delivered in time. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a Image guy. That explosion in comics was awesome, man. Rick, I'm telling you, dude. There are some things in life that just change you, right? Uh, Image Comics was one of those things. Like I remember when I first really got into comics, it was the normal stuff, right? Marvel, DC. It was the stuff you kind of saw at the grocery stores, at the spinner racks, and I'm just old enough to still remember the spinner racks before they all completely disappeared. I mean, a lot of them stuck around. You can still find spinner racks in the early 2000s, but a lot of them disappeared. But I remember going to the grocery store with my mom and checking out stuff and seeing books, and it would be Spider-Man. What's up, Paul? How's it going, brother? Batman, X-Men, that kind of stuff. Once I really discovered Image Comics, it was like a whole new world was open to me. I mean, one, I've said this before, they were more of a mature nature. So let's say if you had Marvel and DC, let's say they were like PG-13, Image was definitely more R-rated. And I dug that. There was more blood, more violence, more sexuality involved. And just overall, there seemed to really be more energy and more excitement with Image. And I remember there were things that just they wowed me. I mean, that art, man, that art was just blew me away. I mean, some of the things that made me really want to be an artist were Image. Like I always liked to draw. I drew since I was pretty young. 7, 8 years old. I was drawing. But it wasn't until like the Image revolution hit that I really was like, all right, I want to be an artist. I want to work for Image, like hands down. What's up, Luke? Hello from Australia. I agree about the Image in the 90s was a fun time with so many new characters and amazing art. Still love Pit and Spawn. Hell yeah. You were speaking my language. Pit was another one, man. When I discovered Pit, see, I was never a huge fan of The Incredible Hulk. So I didn't really follow a lot of those books, but I discovered Pitt, and I was just like, "Oh man, this Dale Keown dude is awesome." And then I'd go back and be like, "Oh, he did the Hulk," and I go check that out. But Pitt was just still one of my all-time favorite books, hands down, top 5 for sure. If you were asking me my top 5 comics, Pitt would be up there at 1 or 2. I mean, and that's completely honest. I would put that Pitt number 1 would be up there at 1 or 2. That's another book that changed my life. I love the way that Dale did the really dark black inks in that book. It really made things stand out and make it pop. It's one of the reasons why, I mean, if you get Reaper Destroyer, you're gonna see there's going to be a contrast that you're gonna notice when you see. I do a lot of that. It's inspired by books like Spawn, The Max, Pit. If you're gonna be at night, I like it dark. I want those dark borders. I want black borders around the panels. Did you get your email for the Darkness campaign? Is there a new one? Because I backed the two existing ones. Or you mean, are they being shipped out? That's awesome. I'll have to check my email if that's the case. After all, stick figures since I was a kid. I bet you're darn good at it too. What's going on, Pops Van Zant? Good to see you. Image had so many badass books back then. They brought badass back in the comics. They did. They absolutely did. I just looked through it today. Yeah, Pitt was awesome. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, you really felt like there was like this kind of like a rebel aspect to Image Comics. They were doing it their way. Um, and you had to love that. You had to love that aspect about it. It was inspiring. It was really the old saying of like, fighting against the man, right? But that's kind of what it was, right? They were breaking away from a corporation that had held creators down, held artists down for years, very documented what they did to a lot of legendary creators. And it's just the business, I mean, like in anything, if there is ability to take advantage of someone financially, someone's going to figure it out. And they did until there was an uprising or they got called on it. And I know that there were guys, what was it, like Neil Adams in the day that used to really fight for artists' rights. And then Image came along. And these guys really kind of said, we're done with it. We're taking our talents, to quote LeBron James, we're taking our talents elsewhere. And the fans are going to follow us. And they did. No, the email was just letting us know that they were almost ready. Oh, sweet. Either way, cool. I mean, I backed that purely for the new Mark Silvestri cover on I don't know if it's Darkness Zero or whatever it is, but that's why I backed it. If Silvestri puts out anything new, I'm backing it. It's just the way it is. I saw that Tyler Kirkham post he did where Silvestri did a sketch of his final boss character. Sweet, very sweet, I have to say. If you're wondering, I'm drawing from my desk, my actual desk where I like to stream. There's not a lot of room here, but it's the best way to set up a camera. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a lot of gray tone, I guess you could say, with a lot of cross hatching and feathering. It is a little bit more still of a sketchy style, but I think it brings the picture better together, or together better than it did when it was in its original form. I think it would give it a little bit more of a sense of finished, especially with like the lighting. What's going on, Micro? Thank you for joining me tonight. This is just I mean, I guess it's up to you guys. If we're having a good conversation, I'm going to keep on drawing. This is a commission. Well, it's a commission but it's something I drew on Fragtober, hence the signature. When I was on there a few weeks back, I had a guy reach out to me, really liked the sketch, and bought it from me on Instagram. And I told him that I would work on it still a little bit, finish it out, so that the good money he's spending on me, it'll be a little bit more than what it was. And he's bought stuff from me before, so I want to make sure that he gets a good product. Yeah, Sylvester is one of those artists that'll cross a Kickstarter line. Yeah, I know. That's and guys like Rick is really loyal when it comes to that stuff. Indiegogo or bust, right? But even like he just said, there's a few creators that he will cross that line for, and Silvestri is one of them. And I completely agree with you on that. I don't mind Kickstarter so much. The political shit, yeah, that drives me insane. But even talking with Rick, I mean, he knows this. If there's somebody that I like, um, I'll buy them from Kickstarter. It's not that big of a deal. But I would prefer people do Indiegogo. And my campaign is going to be pure Indiegogo. No bones about it. I need to get a new white pen. This thing is dying on me. I'll buy what I like, whatever I find it at, or wherever I find it at. I can't draw a hard line on comics. Yeah, everyone's got their own thoughts on it, and I don't think one is right or one is wrong. It's you get what you get. You like what you like. There's nothing wrong with that. Have you talked to Sean? Hopefully everything is all right. I did talk to him over the weekend. He's doing. I mean, without saying too much about what he's going through, because I'll let him talk about that. But everything considered, I would say he's doing pretty good. Oh, man, this thing sucks. Damn it. I need a way better white pen. Shelby Robertson recommended me a pen. I need to go buy it. Because this is just, I don't know. I'm not happy with it. Not at all. I backed over 115 campaigns on Kickstarter and 2 on Crapstart. You mean 115 campaigns on Indiegogo? I think. But yeah, you're back a machine, man. That's for sure. I support the creators, not the platform. Maybe someday I'll build a platform everyone yeah. I agree. Yeah. To each their own. What I do understand with a lot of people, I get the whole that's the one. I get the political aspect of stuff. I don't like gatekeeping. And that's one of my big issues with Kickstarter. Too many of these kind of stories, gatekeeping stories. I think crowdfunding should be free of molestation, so to speak, of people saying you can or cannot do something. There should be lines that are drawn, absolutely. I agree with that. But for the most part, if these are independent books, crowdfunding is really one of the only ways you can make any kind of noise if you are an independent creator, especially if you're somebody that doesn't have a name in the industry. Guys like me, Sean, a lot of smaller name guys in the Comicsgate arena. We only have really Comicsgate. And fortunately, we have that because otherwise you wouldn't see the books that you see out there, right? Like there's a lot of talent, guys like Eddie Winkler, the Diaz brothers. Really just killing it out there. Yes, I need to create a platform everyone likes. Who's coming with me? Do the Jerry Maguire thing. Who's coming with me? A lot of these lines here, I don't even know how well you can see it. I had a really hard time setting up a camera down here. I rearranged my studio, and now like the light is even worse. I like the setup for streaming, but for filming, it got worse. But a lot of what I'm doing here is just trying to establish shapes and shadow, bring a lot of this depth out a little bit. I've said this before too, like when I ink a lot different than when I just do pencils, which is one of the reasons why I like working with professional inkers because I have a very different inking style than my pencil style. And when I work with professional inkers, they do a really good job of making things smooth, bringing stuff out. Where my inks tend to be a little bit more, um, I don't even know what you call it, but liney. See, I'm throwing a lot of lines here. I tend to, even though like in some of these pictures, you're going to see a lot of solid blacks. The reason I did that was one, I'm drawing under the gun when you're on Fragtober. What's going on, Tomic? Good to see you, buddy. So it's a lot faster. And the way you cut down time, do a lot of heavy shadows. Get that brush pen out. That really helps when you're trying to draw something in, 45 minutes to an hour. But if I was doing something to finish it, I don't like to do a lot of solid blacks. I like to do a lot of the gradients, so you'll see me do a lot of these lines and cross hatching and stuff to really kind of signal, show the shadows and break up the light. Because there's something really cool about line work. I think it's something that's kind of is getting lost a little bit. Because one, we have fantastic colorists out there now, just doing a great job of what they do. Uh, and a lot of people are going to an easier, well, I wouldn't say an easier style, but a faster style of drawing, which is a little bit more basic shapes. Because line work like this, it takes a while. It does. It's there's no way around it. It's not a fast job. You're not going to get sped up doing this. So you get a little bit more of the chunky, blocky styles out there. But a good line work, I appreciate every single time. If Crapstarter didn't gatekeep and pander to communist ideals, it would help out. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls of any platform that wants to gatekeep under the guise of some kind of moral high ground. It just doesn't work, because who says that they are the ones that get to call the moral standard on anything? Usually the people that will yell and scream about the moral standard of stuff are people that don't have good morals. Well, they think they do. But most of the time, they're the ones that are probably the most corrupt. But they want to just disguise everything. Hence our politics. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It happens all over the place. I love line work. That's why I buy CG books or artwork. I always back the line work books. Yeah, I always do that. And I tell it any creator, do uh, line art books all the time because it's just something you don't get to see all the time. And there's some really awesome art out there that just looks great in black and white. And I think you're missing out if you don't get that option. Plus, it's something else to sell in the campaign. I will definitely be having a black and white version of Reaper Destroyer when it comes out because one, I want you to see the fantastic job that Joe Weems and Matt Bat Banning are doing on the book. And I have an awesome colorist. And I know ultimately some of the line work is probably going to be covered up because that's just modern day colorists. That's what they do. Nothing against them, but they can take some really good artwork or really good line work and uh, lose it in shadow. They'll add their colors and they'll put their own dark aspect on the shadows, and you lose some really fine line work. And I don't want to do that with my book. Uh, I have talked a little bit to my colorist about trying to be a little bit conscious of that, but at the same point, I don't want to hinder his creativity or style because that's not why I hired him. Any of these guys I hire in the book, I don't do it so that I can dictate what they do. I do it because I want to see what they're going to do, and I trust their judgment. If I see something I don't like, I'll say it. But on the bright side, is any art form that has excessive gatekeeping always has had an underground / indie explosion in response. Yeah, that's true. Just look at Kickstarter and then Indiegogo. Once you got the guys like Malin and Richard C. Meyer and EVS going there, you really saw that platform blow up. Someone on Craftstarter stole Vinny's book, and Kickstarter wouldn't do anything about it until Brian Dojo Kun Comics threatened to go after him. I have heard that before. Yeah, Dojo's a cool guy. Dojo don't give no fucks. One thing I like about him is he just he does it. He'll stand up for things. He's got a loud voice, and I like that. I appreciate that about him. Yeah, you have to explain that a little bit more, Rick, or if anybody reach out to Dojo and see if he's talking about it. But the thing that really drew the line for me, many people know that I'm a Christian, and I had heard that there were some books that were being gate kept that were doing very well in campaigns that weren't making the books we like or projects we like or something like that Kickstarter does, and they should have been. And when they inquired on it, that was the answer that they got back was because of the religious aspect of the book. And at that point, it's like, all right, it's not the religious aspect of the book. It's because it's not your religion. It's not your ideals. And that's where I'm just like, all right, fuck that. Like, sorry. Like, that's where you stop being a platform. You start becoming more of editor aspect. So any of these platforms can just say, hey, we're not going to carry your book because of this reason. And again, I think that's the problem that the territory that Image is getting into, because you're giving the ability of some of these people to have the exact same power over creators of, hey, this doesn't fit our moral code, or this is problematic because of this, so we're not going to publish it. And it's horse shit. Horse shit. That's wild. How would you get around the illegality of it when you couldn't actually fulfill the book? Never mind the actual theft of IP. Yeah, I don't know how that even works. What's up, the green laser? I wish there was a Comicsgate for novels. Huh. Now that's an interesting idea. I mean, why not? I guess you could try it. I know that Jamie in the chat is writing a novel, writing the book. Yeah, why isn't there a Comicsgate for novels? That's an interesting thought you just brought up there. There's been multiple books that were gate kept from Kickstarter, mostly due to political beliefs. Yeah, yep, exactly, Rick. And that kind of stuff is just like, all right, guys. Speaking of the industry, right? It's just, I get it. We're all butthurt when our guy doesn't win. Everybody thinks it's the end of the world. Uh, Something really weird happened when Trump won. I mean, that Trump deranged syndrome, it's a real thing. Um, there are some people just absolutely losing their mind when that happened. It's just like, all right, it's just a man, right? It's just the president of the United States. We've all been in a situation where we didn't like the guy that was in charge. Get over it. You got 4 years, which is not that long of a time to make a difference and go out there and get a new guy in. And that's what they did. I mean, very well might have cheated, but that's what they did. So that's what you have to do. Your guy doesn't win, you suck it up and you try again. Of course, now I don't know how many people believe in our system or who, if you even believed in the system, the voting system before, definitely might have a harder time now. And we'll see about the next time that they go and do votes. 2022 is going to be really interesting with the midterms. See how that folds out, because I can't imagine anybody out there, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, which I'm an independent, he's got to be happy with the way our country or direction our country is going. With the Sandman Audible coming out, any chance Reaper Destroyer could come with an audio book? Would be cool to help sell the story while the books are coming. Never thought about that before. Maybe you could do a dramatic reading. That'd be cool. Get some character voices in there. Yeah, I'll think about that. There's been a couple of people in CG that wrote novels, but that would be a good idea to have a campaign for novels. I think it'd be a cool idea. I guess you don't know until you try, but I think that'd be cool. I mean, there's a lot of people that like story, and I know I joke around a lot because of the art aspect. I'm an artist. I like art first. However, there are a lot of people out there that like story first, and you might actually be able to capitalize on that crowd when it comes to novels. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's probably something that hasn't been explored yet, and I say do it. All I can do is test the waters, right? Throw it out there. Get on some streams, talk about it, get other people involved, maybe other writers, and just see how much of a demand that there could be for actual novelizations of stuff. I love books. I really do. If I had more time, I would read more books. I tend to read more like audiobooks because it's just easier for me with the time that I have. But I think there's a good book is really cool. There's a lot to be said about the imagination. There's one thing I like about comic books because you use a lot of your imagination in comics because you're looking at 2D still pictures, but in your mind you can make a move, especially when you're a kid, right? I mean, when I was a kid, all these books were like movies to me. Um, the way I pictured stuff in my head was a lot different than what was being played out on the pages. But it still was as impactful. All right. Michael Malice said it best. They've never once considered they might lose. Then they lost, and the world didn't make sense to them anymore. Yeah, that's great point. There were so many people that were just so stuck in their I don't even know what you would call it, but their little fake world when Obama was in office, and it was just foregone conclusion that Hillary was going to win, and it was just going to continue on the Democrats' run of power, and nobody considered that middle America, the hardworking people of this country that were fed up with certain policies and the way that the country was going to be ran or was being ran, that they were going to stand up and really say, they wanted something new, and it was a perfect storm, and that's exactly what happened. And these people were so insular in their little bubble that they couldn't take it. And yeah, it's something cracked in their minds. Absolutely. Absolutely. All I care about is American economy. Look at now compared to pre-coup, it's bullshit. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had the best economy that we had in a long time, and it was only getting better. Uh, and a lot of people, they want to. I've had conversations with people about like 401ks and like all this kind of stuff. All I know is my 401k was looking good. It was looking good. I was making more money. Gas was down. Products were going in. Consumerism was up. There was no doubt that we were living in one of the best economies. And then Koof came in, and there were a lot of people that used that as an excuse to shut down our economy, shut down the country, thinking they could get it back up and running again. Or maybe they did it knowing they couldn't get it back up and running again. I think they did it politically just because they wanted to get Trump out of office, honestly. Uh, I would just need money to have mine republished. I mean, I don't read and prefer artwork, but that would be cool. My brother got all the drawing skills. He's a teacher, so doesn't have time to do comics. Yeah, you know, Jaylee and Red Gaze both have novels. Oh, cool! I didn't know that. Christian sci-fi fantasy series. Oh, that'd be cool. Even my book has a little bit of Christian mythology in it, so to speak. Definitely like fallen angels and that kind of aspects. I mean, there's a lot of cool things in that. My issue is I love sci-fi and fantasy books, and they've been infested longer than comics. Oh, that sucks. We're in Obama's third term, right? Yeah, we are. Yeah, I agree. The green laser, you could try out doing the campaign. There's a lot of channels that will help in promoting your book. Yeah, I'm Sean and I would promote a novel. We've got no problems with that. It's art and stuff. I mean, writing is part of the medium. Hail Comicsgate. What's going on, Scott? Shadowhawk, good to see you, brother. Hail Rick Sailor. I only wish I was wrong. Just popping in. How's everyone? Well, I'm doing good, man. I'm trying to finish up this sketch from Fragtober. I sold this, so I'm trying to give a little bit more detail before I ship it out. Mine is Nephilim, Angels, etc. Yeah, there you go. That'd be right down my alley. I enjoy reading about stuff like that. I did lots of research when I was a little bit younger about that kind of stuff, which is one of the reasons why I put that kind of stuff in my book, because I was like, man, there's some really fun subject matter here. When you break it down and you get into it, especially giants and like I said, the Nephilim, pre-flood, post-flood stuff. My book has a lot of like the gap theory in it, and if you don't know what the gap theory is that there was a time between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, Genesis verse 1 and verse 2, where there was a period where there was an original inhabitants of the world. They're called the pre-Adamites. And when I heard of that theory, I was like, man, the possibilities of that could be crazy, because in my book, I have characters called the Elder Sons, and they are these pre-Adamites that were ruling the world back then, and they rose to the heights of technology, and they were the ones that created like Atlantis and built the pyramids and all this kind of stuff. And so there was a highly technological world before it was all destroyed and the race of Adam was created. So I dive really deep into that kind of conspiracy theory with a little bit of the backstory of my book, characters you're going to find. Uh, yeah, I'm not going to go too much farther than that, but yeah, it's fun stuff. Is Razor Fist in CG? And if not, why not? He's already plugged in and published pulp novels. I'm not sure. I'm a writer and use Christian symbols a lot, and my stories happen by accident most of the time. Oh, that's cool, man. Razor Fist is friends and several CG folks, so he's friendly. But I think, like Zach, he doesn't care about labels. Yeah, and I understand that too. I mean, I personally don't really care about labels. I'm a CG creator, but I've got people on my book that aren't, and that doesn't bother me. You know, like I got freelancers and people I pay money to do the job I need them to do. I personally am a Comicsgate creator, but at the same time, like I really don't care about labels. I'm an independent creator when it comes down to it. Looks like they're gonna pull the plug on JB and then the real puppet sets up. Looks like they are going to pull plug on JB and then real puppet steps up. Oh, I got Joe Biden. All right. Yeah, well, I will tell you guys. Um, I don't know if we want that. As much as I dislike Biden and I can't stand it because the dude's an idiot, and I really do think he's got some mental issues. And um, but does anybody want Kamala Harris as your president? But I've often said that I think they're going to do that. They're going to pull the plug, like you said, on Joe Biden um, sometime between 2022 and 2023 so that they can get the first black female president in there to go against either Trump or Sanchez or whoever else is going to run. This is going to be the front runners for the Republican Party. And I really wish we had more than a two-party system. I can't stand the two-party system. Uh, but the money comes from somewhere, and that's the problem. That no matter what party you're in, there are still obligations because you have to raise so much money and so much backers and all this stuff that it's just ripe for corruption no matter what. Brandon isn't going to last much longer. I said he wouldn't make it past Christmas. Could be, man. Could be. Scares the hell out of me to have Kamala in charge, but I think that was the plan from the whole time. Yeah, yeah. Especially because you look at the numbers that she got when she was campaigning were abysmal. That's why she had to pop out so early. Nobody wanted her as president, not the black community, nobody. And they thought her numbers were just going to be great. They had to find a way to rehabilitate her and get her in a situation. What better way to do that than to put her as the vice president, the uh, next man up, so to speak, to the presidency, knowing full well that Joe Biden probably didn't have the mental capacity to really be president, and thinking at some point they're going to have to make that change. The problem is, I don't think anybody told Joe Biden that. I don't think people quite give him credit enough. Um, it's it's something to be said for when someone's in power. They're not gonna want to give it up easily, even if that was maybe the original plan. That's what I think. I use fantasy races as being just an offshoot of the human race, early greater genetic diversity. I also invented some new races. The stories begin in another star system with connections to Earth. That's cool, man. Yeah, sounds really cool. Uh, should come on the show sometime and talk about it. If it wasn't for the Second Amendment, we'd be fucked worse than we could imagine. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All you gotta do is look at Australia. Look at look at some of these countries that really gave up their rights to own and bear arms. Should never do that. Never give up your one protection against a possible tyrannical government. It's just, you don't do it. Don't do it. Our founding fathers, regardless of how some people want to denigrate them or whatever, set up a very smart system, especially from where they had come from, where they just come from, and they had seen these powers abused, and they wanted to set up a system that would give power to the people. And it boggles my mind when I see so many people willingly wanting to give that power right back. A lot of it is some delusion in our schooling systems. A lot of liberal ideals have made it into the colleges, the middle schools, the high schools. It's definitely something to watch out about. I think about this stuff every day. My daughter's not old enough to go to school yet, but I guarantee you, I'm going to be the kind of dad that storms into the principal's office when my daughter brings home some bullshit that I don't agree with. That's going to be for sure. I'm in Canada, no Second Amendment here. Yeah, yeah, I feel you, man. The government has pushed for a racial divide to keep us fighting with ourselves instead of them. Yeah, that's been going on for a long time. But the sad thing is, though, you look at this country now, we are so divided uh, over a lot of things. The race was, I think, just a convenient thing. It's like when Obama got in office. As racist as our country is, we're such a racist country that we voted a black man in office twice. You know, that's just what I don't get. It's just the false narratives. But once he got in office, that was the thing. You could no longer judge a man by his actions and his deeds like everybody else should be judged. Now it was, well, if you don't like him, you're racist. And that's where it started. And it's only got worse when Hillary was running, then it all of a sudden switched, right? Now it was the right from the get-go. Like I called it like a year, 2 years before Obama was before the elections were going to happen, when they were starting to do the campaigns. I was like, look, they are going to really make a push now for women, and they're going to talk about how women have been held down and like all this kind of stuff. And that's exactly what they did, because they were propping up to put Hillary in office. And so now the divide continued with men versus women. So we already had a divide between black and whites and other minorities, and all pushed by the mainstream media, because in reality, the majority of us here uh, all probably are more centered than we are one way or the other. And it's the few, the loud few that are on social media and on the mainstream news that really are the ones out there, yapping their jaws and everything. And people kind of get that as a sense of what the country is feeling, and it's completely false. What's going on, 24 Eyes? Good to see you. Uh, it's not just the Second Amendment we need to worry about. Think about the laws that come into play if you ever have to actually pull the trigger. Kyle is a perfect example of this. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why Kyle's trial is being so politicized right now. I mean, make no mistake, this is completely a political trial, and they have a specific narrative that they tried to run with it. They tried to run with the white supremacist narrative. Hell, there are still some people I've seen on social media still think that Kyle shot and killed two black men, and it's like I see like they had to perpetrate the racist thing, right? Because of course he's white, so that means he's a white supremacist. Um, and he was there to kill Black Lives Matter people. So it's completely political, and they need him to go down so that the left can have their victory. The problem is the law and the facts are not on their side. It's clearly on the side of self-defense. But the problem is most people don't care. They are narrative driven, narrative based, and it's a tribalistic win more than it is truth. So we're living in a day and age right now where truth no longer matters. Well, back to work, but I'm here listening. Hey, thanks, Shadow. I appreciate it, brother. I'm glad my kid is 21 because I would have to homeschool him or send him to a private school. Yeah, I wonder that too. I wish I had the money to homeschool my kid or do the private school thing because the public schooling system thing scares the piss out of me. Obama started his massive racial divide, and when Trump won, they went full retard. Yeah, and I've said this before. My whole life, I've grown up around, I've lived in small towns, but I've grown up around uh, every minority. We had a lot of migrant workers in the small town I grew up in. Never had a single problem. Never looked at them differently. They were always really good people. Never even crossed my mind. Um, Same thing when I was older. I really got into the workforce, and I worked with a lot more black people than I'd grown up with. Never had an issue. Uh, we all treated each other as human beings because that's how we were raised. Um, I didn't see this racial divide until Obama got into office, and then all of a sudden it was pushed, and it was pushed by the mainstream media. It was pushed by the politicians because they need votes. They need to paint a narrative. They have to do a lot of things uh, to separate us, and that's what they did. And it was horrible for 8 years. And when Trump got in, everybody lost their minds, and it was a perfect way for them to all of a sudden now white supremacy was on the rise, and like all this kind of just crazy stuff that they were talking about. And it just furthered the divide because we live in a society where we are driven by social media and what you see on the internet, and that people would see stuff float around on Facebook, and that was it. That was the truth. And we didn't have enough people with common sense to step back and really think about what they were seeing. And for 4 years, you had people getting dumbed down by a biased, lying mainstream media, and then a biased, lying social media platform. My kids are in Florida. Luckily, a Navy SEAL is in charge. That's hell yeah. The real problem is the censorship of social media and the complete brainwashing bullshit the public TV puts out. Absolutely. What's going on, American Comics? Michigan has a really good charter school, and check out National Heritage Academies. I actually think that they are out in your area. I was in Dearborn. I have heard of them. Yeah, I'll check it out. Hey, Past Master Dan. Good to see you, brother. To me, only racist people talk and push racist ideas. Yeah, they do. That's the the most racist people in this country are the ones that really push the racist agenda. The rest of us are all living here, getting along with one another. Oh, that was gonna be my point. So I would still go out amongst this point in time where everyone's saying that the country's so racist and divided, and I would be uh, holding doors for men and women, minorities alike. I would be getting the door held for me. I'd see random strangers, whether you're white, black, brown, whatever, getting along. And that's what I saw. That was my world, right? And I used to tell people, I was like, just look at your personal world. Look at what's going on. I understand some people might live in a different, what's going on, Nicholas? Maybe an area where it's a little bit more prevalent, but the majority of us, I think, you see the world for what it is. Most of us get along. We respect life. We respect race. We respect people's privacy, and that's what it is. So all the stuff that they're trying to tell us from the mainstream is complete and utter. It's utter horseshit, But unfortunately, there's some people that they just believe it all. The Blob chooses nails. Yeah, I like the idea of him just being really disgusting, right? Like, he's so fat, he really can't take care of himself. He probably can't wipe his ass. So he probably can't take care of his nails very good either. Plus I just like drawing fucked up nails. All prep for the Antichrist. One day, New World Order. There's been a big lie in telling people private schools are crazy expensive. Most of them are not that expensive. That could be. I'd have to really look into it. Ron Paul has the best homeschool program I've viewed. Hmm. Is the Blob coming out of the bathroom? He could be. He could be. Yeah, maybe. You might not want to know what's going on down there. That's a good point. That's a good point. I like it. The large majority of racists are the woke. Yeah, yeah. Western Michigan does a lot of homeschooling. I was actually homeschooled. If you didn't know that, my parents wanted to keep me out of school for a lot of reasons. One was just uh, easier access to drugs and things of that nature that were going on in the schools back in my day, and two was that they would just push kids along. You wouldn't really get a chance to learn, and I'm glad because I had to struggle when I was younger. I was dyslexic, so I had a real problem with math and spelling, and my parent, I think it was good. Plus, fuck, why'd you want to go to school anyway? 20,000, 24,000 a year. What, for the private schools? They were great. They were great. And my mom, I was adopted. My younger brother was adopted from another family, and then my older brother was the 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 birth son. I guess that's what you call it. So, and we were all the same age. We're all within 6 months of each other. And my mom homeschooled all of us while my dad was out working and providing for the family. So that was they were smart. My mom was awesome. All right. Oh, let me see if I can do this. Just oh man, I gotta buy new brushes too. Let's see if I can get some blacks going in here. I was bored with school by 16. I could have tested out, but no one gave me an option. I actually knew when I was growing up there was this girl that was a homeschool uh, chick, and she actually graduated when she was like 14. She was just really smart. I was not that smart. I had a pair of adopted sisters. That's awesome. I think if anybody has a chance to adopt, definitely they should. There's a lot of kids out there that need good homes. Um, that's for sure. I lucked out. I was put in a very, very great home. Praise the Lord. I was put in a very great home. My school didn't have a drug problem. I did all of them. They were easy to get. Yeah, I'll tell you what, when I turned, what age did I start smoking? 14, something like that. This brush sucks. This is not going to work. Yeah, it was on, baby. It was on when I discovered that. Mostly weed, pretty much all weed. Small town. That's what we all did. Just smoked weed. Psychedelics, but I never liked psychedelics. I like to still kind of be in control of myself, you know. Seeing that ink sitting there on the art is making me anxious. I know, I know. I was thinking the same thing. I'm trying to be really, really careful. One of the reasons why I'm kind of holding it in my hand. Just want to fill in this background, give it a little bit more of a make this character pop out a little bit more. Again, like I wasn't planning when I did this sketch on Fragtober, I wasn't planning on really having this be. I didn't put a lot of thought into the piece other than I was trying to do something quick, make it cool. So I left all this negative space up here. But now that it's been purchased, definitely want to make sure that I give it a little bit more atmospheric um, feel aspect of stuff. So I'll just put a bunch of black, get some smoke here. Maybe before it's all said and done, I'll do some white splatter. What's going on, Noah? Good to see you, brother. Shrooms are nice, dude. Yes. Yes. Let me tell you something. When I was in my band days, I got into shrooms big time. I'd never done it before. And we were heading to a show in Iowa. And it's one of just a week it was just a weekend show. And we met up with a dude that sold shrooms. I did them for the first time. Fucking fell in love with them. They were so good. They were so fun. Uh, I never really had a bad trip with shrooms, but I do remember we went down to this festival that we were playing called Rocklahoma in Oklahoma, and we had a friend of ours drive us all the way there because again, it wasn't we weren't on tour. We were booked on the show. We were going to go down there for the weekend, party out, sell our CD, and we were going to play on that Saturday night. So he drove us all the way down. I want to say 16 hours straight, and he didn't sleep. And we got there in the afternoon, and we're like, well, let's party, like we got nothing to do except wait for evening to roll around. So we started drinking, started smoking. He didn't sleep at all and wanted to do some shrooms. And like, of course, we all thought it was a good idea, right? Gave him a bunch of shrooms. Fuck, man, that dude freaked out. Like, he thought at one point that we had brought him down to Oklahoma to like jump him or something. I don't know. I have no idea what he was going through his mind, but he had lost it to the point where my guitarist, Alex, had to separate us from him for a little bit and just kind of calm him down because Alex was the only guy that he'd let talk to him. I felt bad for him, man. Going on no sleep, you instantly start smoking, drinking, and doing shrooms. Like that was probably not a good combo. I was adopted. I was adopted too. Was in 4 different foster homes. Had good and bad foster parents. Yeah, I was lucky. How do you say that? Mythic, rare, mythic. Sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, I feel you on that. Like I was really lucky because I was in one foster home. It just so happened. So my mom, uh, when I got put up for adoption, my mom she was too young to take care of me. She had me when she was 15, and it was just my grandfather wanted to adopt me, but they they had just had a kid themselves, and so they couldn't take care of 2 kids. So they put me up for adoption. Luckily for me, um, the Sontag family fostered me and loved me, and they wanted to adopt me. And my grandfather really liked them. They're good people, and he knew that my mom was not going to be able to take care of me anytime soon. And as much as he wanted to, he was not going to be able to take care of me either. So they made the decision to um, go ahead and give up rights. And I thank him for that because it was probably the best decision he could have made. I had a wonderful life. I had great parents, and I had probably better opportunities in the Sontag family than I would have had waiting for my mom at the time to figure out the stuff that she needed to figure out. And she did eventually. We reconnected when I was in my 20s, and we have a really healthy relationship now. And I have some really awesome siblings on my mom's side. So it's great. Everything worked out. Everything worked out to the best. Sometimes that just happens like it is. So I have absolutely no complaints, no ill will towards anybody, no anger. Thank you, Art9. Appreciate it. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, so everything works out. Everything works out for the best. That's all I gotta say. And that's all I have to say about that. That was a horrible impersonation. Horrible. I should be struck for that. Hey, bringing up some interesting conversations tonight, guys. That's for sure. Got some politics. Got some adoption conversation going on. The reason why I'm trying to kind of throw in this black down here is when I drew this as a sketch, I didn't give much thought to the environment I was putting him in or his legs. So I kind of just disappeared his legs into shadow because he's massively fat, so his body's going to cast a pretty heavy shadow. But I always wanted him kind of in clouds and stuff. Now I'm gonna do a lot of details. This is gonna kind of be it. I don't want to muddy up the background too much. It's just framing the character out a little bit is what I'm trying to do. That's probably what I'm gonna do with the blacks. There you go, Past Master Dan. Putting up the ink. Now you don't have to. Now you don't have to worry. Any Lobo or UFO stories? No UFO story or no Lobo stories, but I do have a UFO story. I've seen a couple of UFOs in my lifetime. One of them, I was in at the time. How old was I? I don't know, like let's say I was 18. We'll say 18. I was in my girlfriend's hot tub at the time at her parents' house, and we're just hanging out. And I'm all chilling, looking up towards I want to say western northern sky, if I'm thinking correctly. How many ash cans did you end up selling? Right now, I think I'm around 110, 112 or something. They're still coming in. I got a couple orders tonight. I sent a super chat to EVS, and I got a couple orders off of that, which was cool. But it ends on the 19th on Ott and Stuff. So this Friday on Ott and Stuff, I'll be closing out the ash can. So you have up until the end of that show, and I'll officially stop taking orders and then start getting everything set so that we can hopefully get it all shipped out by Christmas. Did you see the UFO when you were on Shrooms? No, I didn't. Although one time I thought I did, but then it turned out to just be a flock of birds. And that's a true story. But this time was I was just relaxing. I was looking up at the sky, and I saw this triangle, and I can draw it for you. I know it looked like this. It's kind of like this triangle-shaped craft. It had a circle here. And it had two bigger circles there. That's a really crude drawing. It might have had some borders, a little bit. It was the exact same color as the stars. I'm looking at this thing, and okay, yeah, you know what's going on. I'm looking at this thing, and it's like like how when you look at the stars and your eye just kind of all of a sudden it fixates on something, and you have like a sense of clarity. Like it goes from just like a massive star. And this was a beautiful night. It was a clear night. It had some clouds out, not many, but like I see this shape, and it's far up there too. It's like if you were to hold, if you were looking up the sky and you were like to hold maybe like this, it was probably like that big up in the sky. So it was a pretty good size shape. And I'm just looking at it, and all of a sudden this thing from a dead stop, it kind of goes out like this. It darts this way, darts this way, darts this way, and then just boom, takes off across the sky and behind the cloud. And it was like in a matter of seconds. It was the most unnatural movement I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't figure out what it was. Never saw anything like that again, but it will always stick with me. Cartman is a KKK. Could be. I use those types of spacecraft for one of the races in my books. That's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, doing a lot of the UFO research as I did when I was younger, came across a bunch of different types of, and in fact, I found one of the ships in my research that looked exactly like that, and I was like, all right. Now, here's the thing. I got theories on aliens and what aliens actually are. I don't particularly think aliens are uh, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just blanked. Must be all the LSD. Intergalactic. I don't think aliens are intergalactic. I don't think that aliens is what we think are coming from different worlds. I think they're more interdimensional. And there was a really cool theory out there of fallen angels being UFOs, and like a demon theory as well. And those were really interesting to me. I was like, now that's cool. That would make sense because there's when you do some UFO abduction research, there's a lot of things that are very uh, almost demonic possession aspects to a lot of this stuff. So it's really cool research, really cool stuff. Interdimensional beings, exactly. Nope, it was a drone. Could have been. Boom. Absolutely. Now we're talking the same language. They have some kind of anti-gravity drive. Yeah. So I mean, really cool shit. Really cool stuff. And then, I've seen just lots of weird stuff in the sky. Um, and granted, some of the other stuff I've seen, I was definitely on drugs. So that's for sure. That is absolutely sure. Of course, then you have the USOs, and I do believe fully that we know more about our galaxy, supposedly, than we do about the oceans that we have on this planet. And I believe that there are tons of things that could be in the ocean. Uh, amongst other tech, I have out engineered an engine with a physicist with an engineer background with Roger Penske. Are we living in a simulation that is controlled by aliens? Huh, I don't think so, but it could be. I believe between our government and religious churches, they've destroyed and hidden a lot of stuff from us. Well, I definitely believe the government's hidden some things, that's for sure. I've also seen an orb 2 feet in diameter. Now that's cool. I haven't seen any orbs, but that's really cool. Most of the stuff I've seen in the sky have all had a shape to them, a physical shape. What could they be? I don't know. I believe that some of that stuff could definitely be, you know, top secret government planes. I know that the B-2 was thought to be a UFO until the government uh, said what it was. So could be. Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's for sure. I just don't know my own mechanics yet. Yeah. UFOs though, unidentified flying objects, absolutely real. Whether aliens are in them or not, that's another story. But to draw, it counts. So if I get some white splatter, I'm definitely gonna flick some stuff down here. Uh, might add some more lines at some point. Show some motion of this fog. Give it kind of like a menacing swirl. But otherwise, I think pretty much gonna be finished with this. I spiced it up a little bit. It'd be well worth the money that's being paid, I would say. Let me fill this out. What's the date today? The 15th. This whole time I thought it was the 16th. All right. 11/15/21. The Blob. All in all, I dig it. I thought it came out pretty good. And a little bit more shadowing, a little bit more gray tones with the cross hatching. Brought out some of the light sources a little bit more. Yes, indeed. So let's. Yeah, I got both cameras going now. It's amazing. When I find some time, I have to do a cover for You American Code. Yeah. Well, I wish I had some things to tell you guys about. I have some stuff in the works that I'm trying to do for Ott and stuff. Possibly a show tomorrow. If that pans out, that could be a fun show with a potentially pretty big name on it, but we'll see. I might be going on Mandy Summer's show tomorrow at 6. That hasn't been confirmed, but that was in the talks, so maybe check that out. No logo on that. It's an American. No, I can't. There's no bad lighting here. It's American flag. You just can't see it with the way the light's at. But and then Friday, like I said, close out for Reaper Destroyer Ashcan. I think I'll be taking orders all the way through that show, and then that's it. That's it. Whatever we end with is what we end with, and I will get everything put together. The one thing since I got people, and I'll repeat this. I'll repeat this on the Odd and Stuff show. But the advantage of YouTube and Indiegogo are we are in a good period for getting independent works out there. They were around in the same way in the early 2000s. Yeah, American flag for sure. So recently with Reaper Destroyer, I ended up parting ways with my writer and my editor on the book. Oddly enough, it wasn't over Comicsgate. They weren't Comicsgate. They knew I wasn't Comicsgate when I first started this book, like I said. But when I did decide to make the change and be Comicsgate, I let them know what was going on, and they were fine with it. So, but there was a different issue, and we parted ways amicably, if that's a word. So, I'm going to be bringing on someone else to help. The book's written. So basically, how I do it is the book is written, and then I'm gonna go through and draw it, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna script it. But I like to work with an actual writer to make sure that the pacing's good and that the character, the character building is the way it should be. And I also like help with the scripting. As much as I like scripting, I want to make sure it's the best as it can be. So I don't have an ego to the point where I'm like, it has to be me, it has to be word for word, or it's not going to be. So I want to bring in people that are going to help with the book. So I'm in talks with someone right now to come in and help with the scripting along with what I'm doing. So that's the only really big news. Nothing really changes. Like I said, the overall plot and the story was mine from the beginning. I enjoy working with a writer because it's fun to have someone else pitch ideas out of and bring ideas out of me. Like having someone ask me questions and motivations. It really makes me look at my characters in a different way than I had before. So that was cool. But so that's the first casualty in the project so far. But it'll be good. Like I said, I actually kind of feel like I've got a little bit more freedom now to do what I want to do, to expand the book, put more pages in the book, because originally it was going to be a 22-page book, because it was supposed to be like a standard comic that we were going to put out and try to get picked up by whatever um, publishing company we could out there. But now that we're doing the crowdfunding thing, I wanted to expand the book. So I was taking it from 22 pages to 32 pages is the biggest I can make it because this is a serial book. For anybody that doesn't know, it's a 6-part story arc that I could break down to 4 parts if I wanted to, depending on how long it takes to get out. My goal is to put out a book every year. I would like to do more than that if I could. It all just depends on how much time I actually get to work on the book itself. So, but my biggest thing is putting out the first book and putting out the best quality I can, um, with the best people I can. I went out and got Joe Weems and Matt Bat Banning to work on the book to ink it. Some of the best inkers in the history of comics, I think, and that's just me. I know that there's a lot of different names you could throw out there, and I probably won't argue with it. But I went out, Brian Valenza, you can see in the background there, did the colors to the cover. Fantastic colorist, killing it right now, doing some stuff with Rob Liefeld and Top Cow and some other companies. Just got a beautiful palette. I think what he's doing with the book is great. I can't wait to actually get to the campaign so that I can post some colored pictures and really show you guys a sense of what this book is going to look like when it's finished. So I'm going to make sure I put out the best possible quality book I can. And I know everyone's got a different idea on what they like out of books. Uh, some people like perfect bound, 48 page plus a story that begins and ends. I just figured you can't please everybody, and I'm not trying to please everybody. I'm putting out a book. I'm hoping that everybody else is going to like it. It's going to be high quality floppy. But that's what I do. I make comic books. I don't make graphic novels, and I serialize them because that's what I want to do. I want this to be an ongoing story with story arcs that can build and grow the character. I'm not trying to do one shots, uh, beginning and end, movie style. So, but what I can guarantee you is it's going to be as high quality as I can get. Like I want you to, when you pick up this book, I want you to think that you picked it right up off the shelves at your local comic book store because that's how good the quality is. Art, story, production. I imagine a theme song for Reaper Destroyer patterned after Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson. I can see that. Joe, get a Brett Booth cover. Thought about it. Thought about it. I know he's really busy though, and he even said that we talked after the stream, and he was just talking about like how busy he is right now. He's got Gunslinger Spawn going on. He's wrapping up the Anybody's, Lost Serpent Prince. He's got Parsec. He's doing. I know Marvel has got some other stuff lined up that they want him to do eventually. From what I heard, he's going to be doing a long run on Gunslinger Spawn, and then possibly, hopefully, he's hoping to get like on the main book at some point too. So he's gonna be a busy dude. That and he's done some covers for a book called Death Shroud, which is a character that looks very similar to my character. Uh, and I know that I have had some of the Death Shroud people come when they've seen my character out there come out and say that it looked a lot like their character. And I didn't even know what the character was. It's just they happen to be two guys with capes in the hood. Go figure. But if we all come from the same kind of school of comics, we're all going to be influenced and have similar ideas. So, but that was one of the things. Like he's done some covers for them. I didn't want to feel like I was ripping that off too much, so I don't think I'd go the Brett Booth way for the cover to Reaper Destroyer. I got some other guys in talks with about doing a variant cover for the campaign when it happens. And I think everybody would be pretty pleased with. After that stream, I went and bought a couple Gunslinger copies. I got to pick mine up. It's at the comic book store still. Like I haven't got a chance to get down there and get it, but I do. Brett's one of those guys, man. Like I'll always support Brett. Uh, I might not always agree with his political stances with some of the stuff he puts on Twitter, but as far as art goes, I'll always support him. He's a fantastic artist, and he's always been cool with me. Every time I've talked to him on social media, the times I've had him on the show, he's been really, really cool, really down to earth dude. I would love to see him join Comicsgate. And it seems that I don't know if he's just ready to make that step uh, outside of where he's at right now. Like, and if he does do independent books, he's got a lot of stuff in the works. But I don't know. I think if there's anybody out there that could be persuaded to eventually come to Comicsgate, I feel like Brett maybe could at some point because he's already had to rail against certain things in the industry. Like I said, he's got a lot of backlash when it comes to the drawing of women or his overall style. He's had a lot of things when he's talked about the writers in the mainstream. He's not a big fan of cancel culture and things of that nature. Like the conversation I had with Brett after the stream, and we talked for about maybe a half hour. It was basically a Comicsgate conversation you know, without it being Comicsgate. So like I feel like he ideals wise, he's there. It's just we all know what it is to actually make that jump. Micro said Deathstroud looks more like something out of Darksiders. Yeah, I checked out the character and the design. It's cool design, cool art. I like the creative team they have on it. It looks pretty cool. But I don't think besides having a hood and a cape, I don't think the characters look at all the same. And I know the story is going to be completely different. My story is, I feel like, going to be fairly unique when it comes to that kind of stuff. That is the idea I have, but I'm going to use variants for expanding the story up to and including graphic novel per issue, as I believe the original comic books and the Stan Lee newsstand is not a broke concept. RD looks like it could have fit into Darkness Universe. Yeah, I get a lot of people saying, and it's probably one. My art style is very Top Cow influence, and that's where I kind of came up. Um, Obviously, the guys I'm working with, especially with Joe Weems and Bat, they worked at Top Cow, so that's going to have a flair. The design is a mashup of like 10 different characters, but some of those characters I use for influences are characters like the Darkness, Rip Claw. Um, that's that's probably it from the Top Cow universe, and there's a few other characters in there, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like it's definitely when I look at something stylistically, what I wanted to do, my influences are the '90s, early Image, Top Cow, and amongst others. But like if I'm gonna make a book of something that I loved, it was gonna be something like that. And I'm glad people are drawing that conclusion because I want there to be something within the character, the art to kind of give you a familiar feel to kind of tickle that nostalgia, so to speak, on the character that will make you just want to pick up the book because it reminds you of something. But when you do, it's gonna be new, it's gonna be unique. If you put stuff on Indiegogo, I would buy it as corporate comics collapse. He may come over. Yeah, I think right now his main goal is besides the gunslinger stuff, and if he gets a chance to do something he really has wanted to do, he's going to do it. But I think as of right now, he's really trying to focus on independent books, and he's got a couple properties like we were saying on the stream. If you follow his stuff, he's got the Lost Serpent Prince coming out, which is it's a kind of a take on the original Backlash idea from Wildstorm that he's kind of just retooling and rebooting, which sounds really awesome. He's got Parsec, which is a speedster book that he's going to be bringing out. And I think that's what he really wants to do. If he can make the money on it, he really wants to go the independent way. And I was like, dude, if you get in good with the Comicsgate crowd, and if you can just show them that you at least respect them. And I've told him before, like you don't have to be Comicsgate. There's a lot of people that Comicsgate support that aren't Comicsgate, but they're Comicsgate friendly. I was like, and these are loyal customers that you want to buy from you because they will support you, and you give them what you want. And Brett's all about fan service. That was one of the things we were talking about. Like he's big on fans. Like he wants to take care of the fans, and that's what I like about Brett. He wants to give the fans what they want. So he's not going to be putting out books with a political uh, a political narrative, right? That's going to be telling you what to do or what to believe. So I have high hopes. I have high hopes, and maybe one day you'll see Brett in Comicsgate. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking at a marriage of Stan Lee's newsstand and what we do on the internet. Oh, that'd be cool. We just got Gabriel El T El Taib. Oof, hard time saying that name. Uh, More will come. I agree. Yeah, I mean, look, Dale came, right? Dale came was a huge name in the industry. That was, I guarantee you, that was news, and that was a name that rocked. Regardless if Dale's in his 50s, right? But regardless of the age thing, I guarantee you, him coming over to Comicsgate absolutely rocked some people, and probably scared a lot of people too. It probably scared a lot of people that happened. And you're gonna get more people. More and more people are gonna come over. And all it takes is that one big name, that one big current name to make the jump because they're just sick and tired of what they're seeing in the mainstream industry. That's all it takes. And then it crumbles. And then it all starts to crumble. And then the narrative is broken and they can't lie about shit anymore. Don't forget Bill Willingham and Mike Barron. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's already plenty that needs dramatic overhaul, in my opinion. He would make money if he got on Indiegogo. And look, he's going to do Indiegogo. His actual campaign is he's going to do Indiegogo. He might do the Kickstarter Indiegogo, kind of like Billy Tucci does, because we talked about that a little bit. Because he's really been paying attention to guys like Billy Tucci and Brian Polito and their model, how they do stuff. He said he would love to stream if he had the ability to stream. He can't. He lives out in the boondocks. He's down there in Texas. He lives off the grid. Got horrible internet, so we can't really stream. But if he did, you would see him on and doing more stuff. Comicsgate isn't growing; it's expanding. I like that. Expand. Yeah, I think over the years, that's fine as long as he's on Indiegogo. Yeah, yeah. I think over the years, people get worried, like somebody's going to come over here and exploit the good graces of the Comicsgate backers. And I understand that completely. I also think that we shouldn't be afraid if someone comes over and like the first thing is like this kind of mistrust at a name coming over because, they didn't make the sacrifice in the beginning. They didn't go through all the hell that some of the guys did at the beginning of Comicsgate. And I got that. I understand that. But at some point, if someone's breaking away, regardless if it's now, if it's a year from now or whatever, I wouldn't automatically distrust them. And you can weed them out. You can see and feel their authenticity, I think, fairly easily. I think people will tell you who they are very quickly, especially if they have to get on streams and talk to the backers and talk to people live like this. The one thing that's unique about Comicsgate, and I was telling Brett this, is that the relationship between the creators and the backers uh, is the stream. Like we get on and talk to you. You get to know us. We get to know you from the chat. There's a connection there that you're not going to get by just doing the normal thing, creating a book, putting it out. Which is why I think you see guys like Sean Gordon Murphy not making nearly as much as you'd think he would make on doing a crowdfunding book. And then you got guys like Ethan Van Sciver and John Malin and Shane Davis, all making bank because this is what you do. You get out there and we know each other. You know who I am. You see what I put on social media. You see when I get in here and what I talk about, how I conduct myself, how I treat people. I think that is the rare thing with Comicsgate, and I think that's why you have such a loyal fan base with the backers and the creators. We are all essentially working towards the same goal. And I look at a lot of people never seeing your faces, but I know your names. And I see you pop up in the chat every time I stream. And it's developed like a friendship. I can say Rick Saylor is my friend. I can say that because uh, even though I've never met him in person, but past Master Dan is the same thing. That's what's cool about Comicsgate. That's what I love about it. CG backers will sniff out any phonies that come to CG. Yeah, absolutely. We want all of them to wake up and come over to Comicsgate. They have to leave woke behind, though. Yeah, and honestly, and I said this before, even if someone's just Comicsgate friendly, they don't have to come over and fly the flag, but they do have to leave that shit behind. And they have to understand and respect the fans. And that's one of the things I like about Brett because he respects the fans. He wants to give the fans what they want. Uh, Fan service, like he's thinking of the fans when he's drawing. He's not thinking of the next political victory or whatever, you know. Past Master says we are on a lot of different streams, and if someone shits on us, it will get around. Yeah, that's why it doesn't. Word travels fast, and somebody won't be. They'll be vetted. They'll be moved out quickly if they're false. I passed up on several artists that have come on the CG streams because I didn't believe they were here for CG. I hang out at Joe's place. What's up, Corey? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, you guys are great at that. Um, and when you like someone, when you decide someone's genuine, you do great word of mouth. And I think that the as much as people hate the word community, uh, we can say movement, you can say whatever you want, but it's great for word of mouth. You know, I come from. I know it's a running joke at the on the Odd and Stuff channel, right? I was in a band, but the thing I've said before is that in the indie scene, especially when it was music, and I see this when it comes to like Comicsgate, it comes to comics, the word of mouth was huge amongst the bands that you played with and amongst the fans. If we went out into, let's say, Oklahoma and we played a show and we played in front of 5 people or something, uh, and they loved us and they bought our CDs, they bought shirts, you know. The next time we went down there, they came back and then they brought friends and then the word of mouth grew and eventually you go back down there and then you're packing out, you know, bars and small venues. Word of mouth is a huge thing that you can have within a community, a movement, whatever you want to call it. What's going on, Derek? Good to see you. Joe Ball. Everybody go check out Death. That book looks awesome. Go check it out now. Sheldon, don't say you're my friend. You'll never be allowed in a Fuddruckers again. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. What's going on, Crazy Mad? Where you going with that gun? Where you going with that gun in your hand? Stream teams, I keep telling CG. So yeah, word of mouth's great. The Comicsgate is great. You know, we build this thing together. None of the creators can do this without the backers. Whether you're a first timer that hasn't released a book yet, like me, or you're at the top of the food chain, like Ethan. You know, it all comes back to the backers, the fans, and it's so you respect that aspect, and also when I say fan service, you know, CG's got a bunch of different pockets of stuff that people like. You know, there's some people here that like the superhero books, others like you know, you know, manga style stuff, uh, mysteries, sci-fi, horror. I mean, there is so much stuff in CG that you're gonna find something you like. You know, I'm going downtown to shoot my old lady, caught her messing around with another man. Jimi Hendrix line is cool. Absolutely. Hey, no, that's wrong. How's it go? I don't know. I'm not gonna sing it. You got a great shout out on CG Comicsgate Kings. Yeah, man. I had to text Dan and tell him thank you for the shout out. I really appreciated that. I sent a super chat and Dan's so cool, man. Like he instantly picked up on it and started talking about it and gave me a really cool shout out. You know, gave me, you know, a good 15, 20 seconds just talking about the book. And that's the word of mouth, right? That's invaluable to have something like that. So you got you guys in the chat that will show up at different streams and, you know, comment on streams that I'm on. You got guys like Dan that will give a shout out on one of the biggest streams, you know, and that stuff is heartwarming. It's humbling. You know, the support, you just talk about support in general, uh, felt by both me and Sean, like when we first declared Comicsgate and really started, we're like, we're part of this. We're going to be a part of this. We want to be a part of this. The support was great. Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely get Reaper Destroyer Ashcan from Joe for $20. Hit him up on social media. Yeah, up until the 19th. If you want a copy, it's only $20. Slide up in my DMs. address, PayPal, and you're on the list for reservation. I'm hoping to get it shipped out by Christmas. I like babes and monster books and tentacles. And tentacles, Corey. Oh, there we go. Move this out of the way. Yeah, so let's just keep on doing what we're doing here. And then, it's gonna keep on expanding, as past Master Dan says. And we're gonna bring in more and more creators. Hopefully bigger names will come in. And I always think it's cool when a bigger name comes in. I don't feel any kind of a rivalry or anything like that, or worry that a guy that's worked in the industry is going to come in and take backers away from me. Like I think there's nothing's in Comicsgate to really uh, get out there. So I'm not worried about that. I would love to see more and more of the guys that I admire right now, like a Brett Booth. I'd be extremely excited if he came over to CG at some point, and joined the ranks. Because that just makes our movement that much more credible. When bigger names come in and they say I'm done with the industry. I'm sick and tired of what they're doing with our characters, how they're treating the fans, and I'm gonna come over here to this you know this kind of narrative labeled I don't know what you want to call. What do they label us? Racist, bigots, whatever. But they're gonna come over there because it's not true. They know what it is. And I was telling Brett this, man. I wish I wish the conversation we had after the stream ended was live that everybody could see it, because it was a good conversation. We built this city called Comicsgate. We built this city. Those guys won't be around forever. New talent is a lifeblood, and we need to bring them up right. Yeah, I agree with that too. I remember the old days before you went full CG. Yeah, yeah. Rick was there. Rick was there from the beginning, close to the beginning. More the merrier. Absolutely. It's cool to see more 90s styles of art being made because of CG, like your stuff, Joe. Yeah, I agree, man. For sure. Like that's my love. When I was on with you and Clayton, I fun time on that show because we got to talk about some of my loves in art and the style of art and the era that it came from. That's what I love. I love to see that stuff. And anytime an artist pops up, like Joe, seeing Joe Ball's work, seeing Corey and Clayton's work, Rob Willis, Dan Dahl, some of these guys that have that style, like it makes me excited to be doing what I do, and it makes me also want to beat them in quality. And I say that in the best of competitive aspect, right? I want to see everybody do good, but at the same point, you want to go out there and be the best. So if someone else isn't inspiring you to go out there and put your best work out, then you're not doing something right. If Corey puts out something and I look at it and my first thought is, fuck, that is awesome. I got to do better. That's what we all should be feeling. We should be doing that, because then we're going to put out our best work. Thank you, comic book Bob. Appreciate it. Then we're going to do our best work, and we're going to keep on pushing ourselves, because competition is healthy. That's what you want to do. If you were on anything, this is what I was going to say just about newcomers or old or fresh blood or old people or whatever, famous names coming into CG. It's like a sports team. It's nice to have a good mix between veterans and rookies and young players. And it's the same thing. If you're going to have a sports team, we all got to be competing with each other, because everybody wants to be a starter. Nobody wants to be sitting on the bench. So go out there and work as hard as you can to beat the other guy. But at the same time, you're still rooting for the other guy to do the best, because a rising tide lifts all ships. I truly believe that. 24 Hours said, at this point, more is way better in CG, more books that can be in hand, but not at the cost of quality. Yeah, I'm all about quality for sure. So I'm pouring so much money, and I'm pouring a shit ton of money into my book to get the people on it. And I also want it to be good, but I also want it to feel good in people's hands. I come from an era. I like floppies. I do, but I think that there can be a high quality floppy and there can be a lower quality floppy. There might be some people that don't want to buy the book because there's a floppy, and that's fine, but there's a certain certain kind of book that I want to produce, I'm going to produce that, and it's going to be the best quality I can put out there. And I want people to, when they have it in their hands, the whole experience to just for 15 minutes, for just 15 minutes, I want you to be transported back to your childhood when things are really exciting in comics. And that's what I want, hopefully, to take when you read my book. Dude, that piece Sylvester did for Tyler was dope. Fuck yeah, it was, man. You want to talk about inspiring? Anytime I see Sylvester put something out, you better believe I save it on my phone and I look at it. And I look at it and I look at it because anytime some of my idols put something out, I'm just still in awe of their quality, even if it's in like a sketch form. That piece of what's that character called? Final Boss was awesome. Sylvester did a great job. And that would be enough if he made that a cover. I'd buy it just for that. CG is full of new blood, like the Barton brothers, Noah, Sean, Joe, Bancroft, so many new artists bringing the heat. That's what's cool, man. Like I like coming in at the time I'm coming in right now. Um, there's so many new talent. I can't say young because I'm going to be 40. Gray's setting in, right? Very attractive, very distinguished. Gray is setting in, but so I'm not that young. I'm 40 years old. Going to be 40 in February. But I'm a new artist, a new name. I love coming in with all the new names, whatever age you might be. It's cool to be that the next wave of creators are going to come in and hopefully make some noise. And that's what I want to do. No bones about it. I'm not coming in to just be timid about stuff. I'm coming in and I want to throw it on the table and I'm be like, this is what I got. I'm a little cocky like that. I'm humble, a little cocky. Like I want to produce the best. Just like I hope that everybody out there, I hope that Joe Ball is the same way. I hope that Corey is the same way. I hope that Noah is the same way. That when you put something out, you want to get that attention. You want people to stop for a second and say, damn, damn, that is awesome. That's an awesome book. That's an awesome character. That's an awesome work. I want that for everybody. And I damn sure want it for myself. Joe Ball wowed me with his new pages. Joe Ball wows me with all his pages. I love that stuff. I still haven't backed the book yet, but I'm going to. I'm absolutely going to when I get some extra money because I want that in my collection. Rob Willis does impress me with some of the art he puts out. Yes, another great artist. Another great artist. What's going on, Jasper? Good to see you. Did you see Fraga's shot of his work tonight? Yeah. Fuck. We're going to talk about his book being late and whatever, because there's a lot of books being late. However, if you get that chance to see somebody put out their best work because they have the time to do it, that's what I think is great about what we're doing here. Is if you want monthly books, go to your store and get monthly books. But if you want like the high quality books and you want the art, the quality of the stuff that you're seeing come out of Ethan, some of the best stuff I've seen him ever draw, and this was coming off of Blood Honey, which was some of the best stuff I'd seen him ever draw. It's because he has this extra time to draw, and Frank is doing the same thing. His fucking shit he's putting out is dope, man. Like the detail is awesome. That the perspective on that chick that he put out was great. A great perspective. And Dan's one of those guys that studies. He studies art. He studies a lot of stuff, and he's a wealth of knowledge. And I love seeing him put that to his book. If I get paid, I'll sit on the bench. Yeah, I feel you. I fell back in love with floppies because of Alterna. Yeah, and so when I say floppies, you got floppies like Alterna, like the whole newsstand. But when I'm talking about floppies, I'm talking more of like, I don't have any examples close to me. I'm talking about the really good high quality floppies. When like Image first came out and they had the really good paper, but it was still floppy form, but it was just the feeling. It was thicker book, it was thicker paper, and it just felt like high quality stuff, and the colors just popped out of it. That's what I'm talking about. I want a day with autocorrect doesn't F up my punchlines. You and me both. You and me both. Do you have an email sign up on Indiegogo yet? Not yet. So what I want to do is get this ash can out. Hopefully it gets out by Christmas or around there. And then once that's out, once that's in the ether, once I can get it into people's hands and hopefully see it pop up on social media, then I'm gonna drop the mailing list, and I'll start going on streams and doing kind of what I did with the ash can, but do it with the mailing list and hopefully get that going and run that all the way up to April when we launch. Oh, cool. I will check that out in a second. I think we're gonna try doing a perfect bound for Kozar. I want to make sure people are happy with it. And that's one of the things that it depends on how big your book is. Like my overall book, the actual book when it comes out in April is going to be 32 pages. I'm not going to put it in the perfect bound for that. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it a floppy, kind of like Blood Honey was, because that's what I want. I want to make a comic book, and I understand if that keeps certain people from buying it, and that's fine. I understand that. Everybody has their own taste when it comes to this stuff, but that's just what I want to do, and I'm going to make sure it's as high quality as I can put out. And like I said, the money I'm spending to get this made, the team I'm brought on to make it, I think is going to be well worth it. And I don't anticipate making my money back for off the campaign, but the idea was to put out a book that you could see sitting on the shelves at your local comic book shop, right next to Marvel or DC or Image, and be as high quality as anything they're putting out. Unmistakable, It's the same thing I did when I was in music. I wanted to have the best mixing and mastering I could do, and the songwriting and stuff was up to us. We wanted to make sure we made the best music we can make, but on the production side of it, I wanted to make sure everything else looked great, so that if anybody came to our show, regardless if we were a signed band or not, we were just an indie band, but you came to a show, you came to our merch table, and you saw a CD sitting there, you saw a CD that could be in a store. The art was, top quality. The designs were top quality that you could see sitting there next to any other band in the metal section. I got the same thought process when it comes to doing comics. I will pay the money. I'll try to make it look as best as I possibly can because that's where I'm at. I love floppies, and our book will be yes. I love floppies. I like Perfect Bound too. Don't get me wrong, I do. But there's something about a feel of a floppy. When War Party came from Professor Murph, that was great. That was a very nice nostalgic trip because I got to really flip through a book, and I was just like, this is what it should be. Like I love reading comics, even if it's mostly like I'm looking at the art and I'll read later. Like I love comics. There's a different feel when it comes to Perfect Bound. Also, when you're doing Perfect Bound, you lose double page spreads and stuff because there's more pressure at the even stuff like this, right? To open up this book, you're still going to lose something right in the middle of that. And if you're doing a double page spread, what you do here, you lose the middle of that. You have to stretch it far. So you lose an art. You lose an art. On a floppy, that doesn't happen. That's kind of one of my arguments. I'm 45. We're all young bitches. Yeah, I agree. You smell what Joe's cooking? Oh, did I fart? Rob Willis needs dependable internet. It seems like it's getting better. When he was on Fragtober with me, it was pretty good. So I think it's getting better. I think his Wi-Fi is better. I don't see enough Charlie Snoogans lately. That's a good point. I'd love to get him on the show and talk to him. For smaller campaigns, I like Stump by Nathan Rosario and Only Death Can Save Us by Russ Leach. Fragaboom is one book I don't give a shit that's late. His shit is awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, as a backer myself, because I'm a creator, but I consider myself a backer because I also back. There are books out back that I don't mind waiting for because I know the quality is going to be good, and I'd rather the quality be really good than rush. If I wanted rush quality, I'd go buy a monthly book, knowing that someone's just pumping that out because they have to get that deadline. That's not what we're doing here. We're doing really good quality books that you can get in your hands, and it's an event when it shows up in the mail. The excitement of when it shows up in the mail and you get to open it and then read it for the first time. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. And if I get to spend that 15 minutes or whatever it is reading through a wrecked planet or a pineapple perception uh, or black flag, and the art is just so that I'm just lost in it, or death, 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 or whatever. I open it up and I just get that chance to just get lost in the art because it's the best quality that that person could put out at the time. Fuck, I'm sold, man, and that's good. That was well worth the wait, sitting there waiting for that book. Hashtag Big Joe Death 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 at Joe Sontag. I back twice, back often. Going to be psyched. Start doing a review vid with it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to backing that. I have to back it. I really do. I'm going to. I don't want to miss out on that. CG should get or go to magazine size like the old Savage Sword of Conan, but in color. Uh, Not really my style. I like the comic book size. The ash can stuff is cool because I like the novelty aspect of the collectability of an ash can, but I'm all about comic book size. That's what I grew up loving, and that's what I want to see. The oversized stuff, kind of like what Viking Wolf was cool, or like what they did with the Last Ronin with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was cool, but ultimately, I want a regular size comic book. It's a bit different for the Kings. They make enough to take a lot of time. That's good for the hardcore fans. However, it slows the growth of CG because there are less books to be purchased. I'll agree with you on that. I'm just saying I don't mind it. If if someone is taking their time to make the best book that they can make, uh, then I'm good with it. That's just all I'm saying, and that's just personally me. Eric Siller, I like Clint writing too. I used to I used to be hung like an encyclopedia. Now I'm more of a paperback man. Do a wraparound cover then if it's pure floppy. Possibly. Possibly. Middle ground creators are the lifeblood of CG and will be the growth, as in most things, right? The small businesses are the growth and the backbone of the country. So why would it be any different in any kind of movement? I agree. I agree. If Joe gets 100 backers, I'll get an original page of Reaper Destroyer OG art now. That's a stretch goal. Yeah, possibly. There you go. Make money. That's what I want to see. Never apologize for charging. I agree. Your book would wipe out the Marvel and DC books, Joe. That ain't even they ain't even trying anymore. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. Like my competition isn't to take on the mainstream, but I definitely want somebody to look at my book and say that this kicks the shit out of the mainstream quality wise. I want somebody to look at my art and my art team and be like, that's professional fucking art, that uh it's not amateur art, and that's the thing. Like, if you're putting out a book, in my opinion, I want to do this for a living. There's another thing I talk about. Like there's two kinds of people or creators. There's creators that want to do it as a hobby and they want to get their stories out, and that's fine. And then there are other creators that want to do it for a living. I want to do this for a living. I want to put out a quality book that excites people and gets people to want to back it and do this to the point where I could do it full time and I could get more books out than just once a year. That's my goal. It's always been to do this for a living, because if I'm not trying to do it for a living, then I'm not putting my all into it. I think you'll do Bancroft level backing for your first campaign. I hope so. I keep my fingers crossed. Whatever I get, I will be extremely grateful for. Um, so I'm not trying to put any expectations myself on what it could do or what it couldn't do. I'm completely humbled that anybody would be even interested in what I have to produce and put out there in the first place. So any backing I get uh, will be good for me. Will be good. I'll appreciate any backing. I mean, it's the same with the ash can. Like, I'm blown away that I've reserved 110 copies. Like that's crazy to me. It's cool. Like, it really, when I stop and think about it, it's a very humbling experience to know that somebody or anybody would take an interest like that. So whatever the campaign makes, I will be happy with, and I'm just happy that you guys are supporting me. It's a truly humbling feeling, like no other. I can't tell you unless you're a creator, kind of getting that backing from people. I don't know if you truly know like how it makes somebody feel to have that kind of support. It's something else. It really is. I agree. I've been telling that Joe and Sean for a while now. Never apologize and shield the shit out of your projects. Yeah, we got to do a better job at doing that. We really do. We've been trying to over the last month or so. How much will you charge for your 32-page book? Jasper, I'm gonna charge $25 for it, and that might turn some people off, and that's fine. But I'm paying over $10,000 to get this thing made, so I don't mind charging $25 for it, and probably more than that by the time I actually pay everything out. It's gonna be over that. I got no care about late books, but shouldn't we be creating an alternative to the mainstream by offering issues at better frequency? If people can do that, man, and that's the thing, like the biggest thing in my argument with that is if you have certain creators that can work full time, and I'm not talking like full time YouTube, full time creator. I'm talking about full time books. If you can get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you can work for 8, 10 hours, 16 hours a day, then yeah, you're going to put out more books, and you could probably put out, a couple campaigns a year. Um, but most creators, regardless of the quality, if you're working full time, especially like me, I'm working full time. I got a full time family, so unless I'm making money enough to provide for my family off of the campaigns, um, then I'm gonna have to go at the pace that I go at. That's just what it is. So, guys like John Malin and EVS can make a living at it. They can do it for a living. John can bring on other talent. He can recycle, cycle in people and help out. And that's great. But the rest of us, we got to work with what we can work with. And if you make 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand on a campaign, that's not necessarily right off the bat going to lead to that full-time work. Now, the idea is to get there at some point, right? Second, third campaign, maybe you're getting the money where you can say like, all right, I can comfortably, go part-time or go full-time. And then maybe you see more and more creators getting a chance to do that. But as of right now, the frequency of books it's hard unless you're doing it full-time. That rush deadline John Malin has an insight about that. And as I see the competition to compete with a monthly and beat them, out of the chaos that is Comicsgate, order will find its way. We cooperate unlike any other media. The teams just have to accept to step in the pit. 94, yeah, everybody back that. Shelby's awesome. We must take on the mainstream. CG needs more frequent output. If we can afford to do it, that's the biggest thing. If the creators can afford to do it, the biggest thing is like, again, like I said before, two types of creators. One that just wants to do it for a hobby, one that wants to do it for a living. The one that wants to do it for a living is going to probably have better quality because they're making more of an investment into it financially, as I am pouring, your blood, sweat, tears, and then money into the book to get it to where you want it. But to do that on a regular, there's got to be a profit made for a creator like that. They have to make enough money so they can pay their bills, at least provide for the family and do it full time. A hobbyist is going to do it. Maybe you get lesser quality art or lesser quality stories, lesser quality this or lesser quality that, but they're going to get books out more frequently. That's just the way I look at it. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. You need wrestling aces. Sorry, my voice is going. And then expect to be top dollar up front, saying here it is, saying it's here, then hand off stuff at best. The ash can is a smart move. Wet the whistle before the main course. Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do is generate a little bit of excitement. It's also a collectible. I know there's collectors of ash cans out there, like I am personally. I might not be everybody's taste, but it's definitely something to get out there, get the buzz out there. And I've seen some dividends already. I've seen some turnarounds. It's been getting a lot of good buzz, a lot of word of mouth going around out there. So it's really working out pretty well. And then I stole the idea from Sean, so it's all his. I just stole it from him. Uh, RD Ashcan should be signed and numbered to add value. It'll definitely be signed. I don't know if I'm gonna do the numbering. People actually support you is what inspires you to keep going. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, the more support you get, the more you keep going. Again, I would not have spent all the money in the years in music if I wasn't getting the support from the fans that were coming out to the shows in Iowa and Oklahoma and California and Texas. You're going out there, you're spending your own money half the time on touring, but you were getting what you were looking for. You're getting the fan base. People were supporting you. You were able to do what you did, and eventually we were coming out even on a tour. Think about that. For as many years as I toured, we were starting to come out even and then maybe just a little bit ahead. And then that money would go right back into merch. That's not a way to make a living as a band. And I couldn't keep that up, which I didn't. Eventually it happened and life happened and I had to move on. But if you have a chance to get you money or make money on what you do and then make a living doing it, then you can be able to put it out on a more regular basis, in my opinion. We just need enough creators that a different book will come out every month. And that's another thing too. If we just get enough books out there, you might be satisfied if you're getting 3, 4 books a month because there are so many books out there that you've backed and they just happen to fall. Most creators have jobs, absolutely. Clay, higher frequency than one issue per 18 months. Yeah, absolutely. That needs to change for sure. Absolutely. What's up? What about? Good to see you. To Jasper, he says, yeah, because it's a lot of work. Creators have to balance day jobs with comics. It's a second job, and that's not even mentioning the campaign. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work for a creator. It absolutely is. And no one's asking to feel sorry for creators. We do what we do because we love it. But in the same aspect, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. I think ash cans and supplements are smart. Big books can be pieced out to smaller books. It will take time to build material, but in a few years, CG will have enough material to feed the monthly. That could very well be. The more it expands, more creators come in, you're going to get more and more of a variety of options for sure. Just hand number on the books you sign. It's not a bad idea. It's hard to break the corporate comic calendar. It's a new paradigm. It's hard to break the corporate count. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, you get so used to what you do. You're buying books on a monthly basis. And then a movement like Comicsgate starts. You get excited about it. You get into it. Then eventually that's not enough anymore. And now you want those books on a more regular basis. You want to see that monthly turnaround because this has become your alternative to the mainstream. And I completely understand that. It makes a lot of sense. You say, fuck the mainstream. I'm tired of the shit they're putting out. I love what Comicsgate is putting out. I support these guys. I just want more books. And we'll get there. That's all I gotta say. We'll get there. It's like Comicsgate is still so new. It's still so young. All I gotta say is we'll get there. It's gonna take time. And a lot of what I said. There are some big strides being made. Some guys making a lot of money and the ability to put more and more product out. I think the more people get up to a higher level, and Comicsgate will help the turnaround um, of getting these creators supported so that they can do it on a regular basis. And then if they're doing it for a living and then they're still getting books out late and they're fucking that up, then that's on them. And then they've shown you exactly who they are, and then you can choose not to back them then. That's the kind of the payoff. Like, you put somebody in that position and then they fuck that up, well, it's one and done. Like, I doubt you're going to get another bite at the apple after that. But if you get those people in that position and then they produce on more of a regular, I doubt we're ever going to get to a monthly. You can't do crowdfunding and do monthly. That's just not crowdfunding. That would be more like If you got somebody the enough money you're turning over on a monthly basis, they don't need crowdfunding anymore. What they need you to do is buy their books at a store. So if I got to a point, let's say, where I was putting Reaper Destroyer out on a monthly basis because I was getting that much money in from sales, I'm not doing crowdfunding anymore. I'm having a private store where you can buy my book every month. So you've gone beyond the crowdfunding. The crowdfunding, in my opinion, is to get the product produced and out there. Like the amount of money I'm putting in my book, I'm gonna need crowdfunding to help pay the rest of that. Like there's only so much in my bank account that I can use. So I think when you're talking about doing it on a monthly, if you're talking about one creator, you're going beyond crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is no more, and now it's just stores. Now everybody's got a private store because so much money's coming in and they're making so many books, you're able to put it out. So crowdfunding is done at that point. I love it, but I'm actually thinking of taking on another artist to help with higher frequency. That people could do that too. You could have multiple artists on a project, put more books out at a time, kind of like what John Malin's doing. And then it just comes back to, though, I mean, like, certain fans of that person is going to want to see that person do that art. So are you going to mess with that a little bit if all of a sudden now, like, you're no longer doing that book? Like, I do Reaper Destroyer, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm done doing Reaper Destroyer. I'm going to bring somebody else to do that. I'm going to start another project, or I'm going to do every other issue of Reaper Destroyer. You run into, maybe that doesn't bother some people, maybe it does. There could be issues all over with some of that stuff. It's going to be a learning experience, as far as I know. Everyone is focused on monthly. How about just striving to complete one book per 9 months? Absolutely, they should be. Maybe not first time creators, but maybe once you're in the weeds a little bit, you should be able to get out one book in 9 months. One thing to keep in mind, though, like, a creator usually has to take a hard stop when you're promoting. That means you're not drawing. You're shilling your shit. You're going on streams. You're going on your own streams, and you're really pushing stuff. And you take a hard stop on a lot of the art, or at least it slows down a lot. And then maybe you get back into drawing while you're in the middle stages, and then you're out shilling hard again when you're getting ready to close. There's a lot of work that goes into the promoting side of it that takes away from the art side, because that's just our platform right now. You have to do that. You have to promote. You have to get on streams. You have to talk about your book. You have to get it out there. Otherwise, people are not going to see it. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to back it. An artist doesn't have all of those corporate accounts to steer their enterprise. Another thing too, a creator is doing everything on their own. Everything. Besides just the book, you're doing the promoting. You're balancing the books. Financial aspect of it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into creator stuff that we don't have people just taking off our hands, where we can just focus on getting the book out. Like, that's something that needs to be, I think, understood by everybody. And eventually maybe we can get there. The goal is to get there, right? We aren't there yet. I would love to put a book out every 9 months, but it doesn't seem realistic to me. Right now, it's not realistic to a lot of people, or for a lot of people. That's the truth. I hope one day it will be. And that's the goal. The goal is to work there. I think people count out the American market. I think CG should try getting distribution in hospitals and airports. Could be. I got no problem with getting books out wherever you can get them at. I would love to see CG books in local comic book stores, kind of like what Alternative does. I would love to see that. I think it would be great. Again, it's all a learning experience. We're all trying new stuff, experimenting. Somebody will have a breakthrough at some point, and everybody's going to copy that person, and you're going to build on that. So it'll all come in time. I think as long as everyone sticks together, we hold each other accountable. That's a big thing, and that's what's great about the backers is you hold people accountable, and you have to. There should be no reason why a creator is taking longer than it needs to be to put out a book, and that's not accounting for things that go wrong. And as long as you're out there and you're updating your fan base and you're updating your backers and they know what's going on, I think people are pretty accepting of that. But if you go dark, or if you say the book's almost done and then a year later it still hasn't come out, there could be issues. And that has to be cleaned up. There's no doubt about it. New creators like me have to really take that in consideration when we're getting ready to do stuff. Because I don't want to be a new creator and put out a late book. But there might be something outside my control that goes wrong. I don't know. This is a brand new thing for me, a brand new experience, a learning experience, and I might stub my toe as I go, but I'm trying to do the best I can from the start, and we'll see where it leads. I feel like Reaper Destroyer is too much your baby to dish out to another. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No, I couldn't see myself doing that. They say you never work harder than yourself. Uh-huh. So, like my plans to expand is I want to do Reaper Destroyer. I have other properties and IPs. If I was to do another campaign besides Reaper Destroyer, it would be with a different creative team. I'd be writing, but I'd bring in an artist and put the book out. It would all be within my universe. But that's what I would do. But I would stay on doing Reaper Destroyer because that is my baby. I want to keep on drawing that as long as I can. I might do pages here or there in some of my other properties, but that's what I foresee growing my studio, my Superior Press in the future. From now in the future, like I want to put out multiple books a year, but it'd be different titles, different IPs, all within my universe, and have them like pop up in the books. Like I want to have that old school kind of image flavor. Like that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to bring back. I'm trying to bring back my youth, right? Everything I loved about comics is what I want to make. And that's the point. That's what it'll always be. I'm making comics first and foremost for myself. And then I'm hoping that other people enjoy it enough to come along as well. That there's enough people that come from the same place I come from. They're going to be excited about what I'm producing. So that's it. That's it. Be excited about your shit. Grow it, put it out there, collaborate if you can, grow your universe. I want to have a universe of books. I want to have a universe of characters. That's what I want to do as a creator. I've always wanted to do that, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm only going to do it, and I can only do it with the help of the Comicsgate backers. That's why you guys are so important to me, and I appreciate every single one of you that show up on our streams, that comment, that have bought or reserved an ash can, that have subscribed to our channels, that have spread the word. You guys are very precious to me and to Sean and to every creator. That's what's unique about Comicsgate, and that's what is so exciting about what we do. The excitement about this is nonstop. I wake up every morning and I'm excited to stream. I'm excited to work. And it's all because of Comicsgate. So I will always say thank you for that. Yeah. The Joverse. I like it. Let's do it. All right, guys. I didn't even plan on going that long, but thank you for sticking with me for 2.5 hours. Wow, that's crazy. I really appreciate that. Thank you for keeping me company. My intention is to grow a point where I have my TRW automated fulfillment center. That'd be cool. Distribution and logistics, as well as the presses locations where I have inroads like North America, in India, etc. That's fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. All right, guys. I really appreciate that. I might be on with Mandy tomorrow at 6. I don't know if that ever got officially scheduled or not, but keep a lookout on it. That might happen. If not, I will see you on the co-host show on Wednesday with Dojo Kun and K Manifesto, I believe. And possibly I had a guest booked for tomorrow night. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. If it does, I'll let you guys know as soon as that guest. I'm ready for the Type 2 RD crossover. That'd be cool. Sean and I have definitely talked about that. But I'll let you guys know officially if that happens or not. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will talk to you all later. Peace.